little bit of introduction on Vincent. He's the Northern Region winner of this year's EY Entrepreneur of the Year. And he is so low-key that when I researched him, I couldn't even find a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, that's mean I'm low profile.
Yeah, but then surprisingly, when I found him on Facebook, almost all his posts are public.
Nothing to be hide anyway.
Okay, cool. So, Vincent runs a very impressive business. It's in the recycling industry, and it is called V Resource. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So V Resource and Vincent together, they won the Northern Region winner for EY Entrepreneur of the Year this year. So for those who are not very familiar with your business, could you give us a little bit introduction?
Yes. We are the only lead-acid battery recycler in Queensland, and then there's only 3 licenses issued in Australia, which is 2 located in New South Wales and 1 in Queensland. Does everyone knows what is lead-acid batteries? No. Actually, you have that in your car. So the batteries provide the power. The power is not provided to here anyway.
New battery.
Yeah. Yeah. The battery in your car or the power storage or something like the telecom transfer center, those power storage, they contain with the lead-acid batteries. And because of the lead-acid battery is very hazardous, it contains lead and acid, so you need a special treatment to be recycled. Does everyone knows when your battery is flat in your car, where does it go?
Mechanics.
Mechanics, yes. Great.
They charge you.
Around 10 years ago, they charge you, but now they don't charge you. If you got charged, you got ripped off. So they're gonna pay you for the battery now because we pay them to bring us the batteries as well. Yeah. So we are the end user or end receiver of the lead-acid batteries. We treat the lead-acid batteries, then send to the smelter. The smelter will smelt to the ingot, just like a gold ingot. Then go back to the new battery again. The new battery come to your car and we receive again. So that's how we do and what we do as well.
I hope that explains. I seriously took some time to just try to understand exactly what you do. So recycling is one of the most sexy business out there.
Yeah, dirty and sexy.
So
imagine
I was
this.
trying to be sarcastic, but it is actually very conscientious and it is a good deed. I don't mean to be rude. But how did you pick the industry? Like from all the industry you could pick to start your own business?
I believe recycling is a substantial business and you never go fail. Even there's something else come out, we can recycle. But I'd like to share my personal experience is I always start from the broker. For example, I start from scrap metal broker. So I get to know all the scrap metal, including aluminum, coppers, stainless steel, all those non-ferrous steel. And there's a chance I found there's a gap in lead-acid battery, which is under Basel Convention internationally, the battery is hazardous goods. You can't be export, you can't be import. You can only treat it locally to make it non-hazardous before you can do anything else. It's governed by a very strict environmental regulations, which is hard to apply the license. And then what we do is we actually take the other way is we put the R&D investment into a patent process. Then we get a patent to recycle, and then we bring the patent to the government to persuade government, say our patent can make these things much cleaner, much better. So we educate them, our technology can be used in a better way. So we grant the first license of exporting license after we treat the lead-acid batteries. So firstly is you have to be in the industry, then identify what is the best for you to put all your strengths into that and then we go back.
So was it a surprise to you when you won the title for the Northern region? Or was it like total within expectation that you were winning?
I'm not sure whether I can win, but I'm quite confident because, we are the only one in Queensland, and then we own the patents, and if not us, who else? But that's from my side. I hope I can win. And our competitor in the EY's Entrepreneur of the Year is like some well-known brands like ginger beer or what is that? The very famous jewelry shop, Wallace and Bishop. Yes, they are the champion, and then we are the regional winner. So we are working with those traditional industries, and I thought their company is much bigger than us, and they are 30 years. They shouldn't be an entrepreneur, am I right? They are 30 years already. I was so surprised why they are into the competition, but let me understand, the entrepreneur is not to build something new or something different. It's if you can find something, you can pick up something different in the traditional industry, expand it. There's also an entrepreneur as well. So like a ginger beer's owner, he changed his marketing way. He expanded to America, Canada market, instead of only staying local in Queensland. This is a entrepreneurial spirit as well. Yeah.
Very insightful. So could you briefly walk us through the process? Because many of us here are entrepreneurs as well, and one day we would like to win the EY Entrepreneur of the Year if that's possible. So what are some of the criteria the panel has used in order to judge who is going to be the winner in the end?
Firstly, you got to bribe the judge. What happened is entrepreneurs programs, you can't self-nominate. You got to be nominated by some organizations, something like Commonwealth Bank or the EY itself. I was nominated by CBA and EY. It's kind of lucky is when EY put me in the list, CBA also nominated me. So it's very lucky I got selected instantly because they got a very wide customer base. They can pick up something different as well. So you got to be nominated. Then you will enter the first assessment. Then EY will asking for your background, your financials to assess you, and also some history of your company, why you are different. After the assessment, they will have a judge panel interview. It's just like a speed dating. You prepare for the whole month, and then they just date you for 10 minutes. That's it. So that's why luckily I passed the judge panel, and then I was a Queensland regional winner, and then we went to Melbourne for the national finalist as well.
Cool, very impressive. So what's your background? I'm curious.
When we talk about all the recycling mechanical engineer side, but actually I'm not from engineer side, I'm from accounting background. Yeah. So let's prove the business principle is the same. Just the product is different. You got to know your product, but you got to have the principle foundation as well. Yeah. Accounting is very interesting thing. I hate accounting, but you got to have accounting to understand how your business cash flow, how you fundraisings, all these details. Yeah.
Okay. So as an accountant, how did you have so much faith in an industry that you are not that familiar or technical with, end up investing so much in the industry and hoping that it will succeed?
Frankly, I'm not an accountant. I don't have a CL, CPA qualifications because, as I mentioned, I don't like accounting.
Okay.
But I got to understand the business. And I found a lot of my last generation's entrepreneurs, they can build a big business, but they fail easily as well, just because they don't understand the cash flow, how important to control your cash flow as well. So that's why I done my accounting, and then I learned how to make sure I management the business. It's very important that you can use a figure to management your business, but you use a goal to leading people. So to manage business, you need to have at least you got to know the basic accountings. But then, because I don't like accounting, so I never involve a professional accounting industry. So that's why I've been through different business and I failed a few times. But then I found as long as you got an understanding of like basic accounting, like cost, revenue calculations, you can work out. If you find an opportunity, you carefully work out, calculate the future growing and the future cash flow. Then when you feel there's a margin there, which is quite good margins, you just go ahead and never look back. Then you might get 50% to win. I didn't guarantee that's 100%, maybe 50%. But if you never do that, even you don't have a 50% chance anyway.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Recycling industry is not exactly a business that takes little cash to get started. So, any tips on starting a business of similar scales and how do you get fundraising?
Yes, this is very good questions. We invest a few $1 million in R&D process to start with, and then the R&D is mean you might fail and nothing coming back. So that's I normally start a business from the broker positions. Broker, you don't need any money to start as a broker, am I right? You brokerage buyer and seller. But when you brokerage the buyer and seller, you get to know what buyer wants and what seller can provide. So you get to know the industries, but you still got income as a commissions. Once you build out the prestige, the name in the industries, it's easy for you to get funding as well, and you got your own safe capital. Once you build out the trade record, if the bank buy into your dream, they will come to help you as well, or even the private equity. So I mean, you can dream big, but start from foundations, from small, then slowly build the experience, the network, and cash flow as well. It might take a few years, but once you get your first business down, the next one, third one will be much easier. Just like everybody buy a pickle can bottle from the coast, the first one is difficult to take out, but then slowly you can easily take out. Just like, how do you call that? In Chinese we call 熟能生巧. Yeah. So this might help you. You can drink big, but then let's start from get your hand dirty from the fundamental part as well.
熟能生巧 in English should be practice makes perfection.
Yes, that's right.
Any other questions? Yes.
At what point did you formalize your business plan for the business? Because usually a lot of businesses fail to do a business planning at the beginning, and then they just get off the track, and that's why they're failed with their business plans. So when did you formalize and finalize your business plan? At what stage?
That's very important as well. I always like to work backward. For example, I set up a goal. I imagine how do I achieve the goal. So I set up business plan to achieve the goal. And that's back to the accounting as well. It's very important how you control your business or follow your business plan without all of the pictures. Then most of the bank, they really care, or most of business investment, they care about the figures. So when you build up, when you write your business plan, there must be a cash flow projections, forecastings. It's very important to make sure your business follow your cash flow projections. You don't do you do 5 years, but you review every quarter. When this quarter finish, you review it. Is that 5% out of your line or 10%? You can adjust it. The business plan can be changed. it doesn't mean it should stay the same for 5 years. So what I do is I review that every quarter, compare this quarter to last quarter, compare the forecasting quarter, make sure my trade record is fit into my cash flow forecasting and fit into my business growing plan as well. So that's why I can make sure the business growing the way I want, and make sure the investor, make sure all the fund provider, they trust in me as well.
So you mentioned that there is a patent that the results hold. How hard was it to get the patent down?
That is the first patent in Australia. We got 20 years. How hard? It's very hard. I can't describe how hard is that, but then it's like gambling. But the hardest part is not to get the patents. Every 1,000 patent, there's only 1 or 2 can be commercialized. The most difficult part is to commercialize the patents. How do you make your patent practical? How do you make your patent make money for you is most important part. This is the hardest part. So I don't think to get a patent is hard. As long as you got enough funding, you got a lot of engineer, you got a lot of scientists working for you, you will get a patent, doesn't matter how. But how to make the patent commercialized and make the money for you is the most difficult part to achieve.
Thank you for that. So you mentioned that to start the R&D process in the factory, you have to invest quite a few $1 million. Plus, there are some bank loans as well. So what do you think at that time the bank has seen in you and your company that they believe you're going to deliver?
Firstly, the bank doesn't trust me. When we first start up, the bank doesn't buy into our idea because there is no benchmark in the industry they can compare with. For example, if you are running a dentist clinic, they got benchmark to refer to other dentist clinic, so they know how much you will make in the regions. But for us, we are the only first one. So they don't want to lend us money. We can only rely on our self-fundings. So we start from very small in a workshop, then start to practice, start to build up our cash flow, and start to build up some trade records. Then gradually, after 1 or 2 years, then we invite the bank. Of course, we still have to put security into the bank charge as well. And then that's how we build out. But then bank is a quite conservative financial institutions. You got to prove to them first before you can go ahead. So firstly, you have to get your funding first before you can invest more with the bank's help.
Okay. So after you got the patent granted, is it being challenged very often? Like, what do you do to protect your patent?
When you apply a patent, there is a provisional year for the first 12 months. We don't actually challenge it. The patent office will challenge it. They will find whether there's a similar patents. Then they would like you to commercialize it within 2 or 3 years to make sure this is a full patent process. I don't try to protect my patents because I welcome people to use it so I can sue them for better money.
Clever. So now this is the $1 million question. We know that since 2013, the Resource has grown from a valuation of $500,000 to $40 million. This is dramatic growth. How did you do it?
It sounds like a lot, but actually it's a bit scary because we start from $500,000 up to $40 million in 3 years' time. We're growing pretty fast. But the cash flow you are handling is quite scary because you are thinking you receive money, but you're paying more in the next month because your business is growing. How do you make sure the business grow growing in a stable way without fail. I don't know how to answer this, but every day I make sure we got enough money for the next month because we're growing quick. So back to your question, how do I feel?
How did you do it?
How do I do that? It's just like you are the captain of a boat in the ocean. There's a storm. You got everyone in different positions, but you're captains. Each people blame each people, or each people they feel people doesn't help each other. But you're a captain. You have to make sure the boat, even is a big storm. You have to sail into the directions you want to go. You have to provide the fuel to the engine room. You have to get your sailor to sail in the right directions. It's just like, it's a learning process as well. Practice makes perfections as well. You keep practice, and when you get bigger, you know how to run it better. It's hard, and hard to explain because this is my first public interview, so yeah, maybe I need a few drinks before I talk more.
Any questions?
I have one. So you mentioned the boat and the people on the boat. So how do you, it's a phenomenal growth, and how do you hire or bring on board the right people and motivate your staff so they help you achieve that really phenomenal growth?
Management is a science, leadership is an art. To manage people, I prefer to use the goal to lead in them. We give chance, we give flexibility, we give educations. You identify the employee who can help you to grow with. We have a very low turnover rate. Within the last 5 years, we only have one staff left the team. Rest of them stay with us because we give them opportunity. We make them to make decisions. I believe you bring the good people to come to your team. It's not to tell them what to do. It's let them tell you how can they make your company better. Of course, we will have someone who is not suitable for the company. This time you have to make business decisions. You have to ask them to leave the ball. Luckily, through few selections, we have a good team in the company. My employee always come to tell me one thing is, Vincent, don't do this. That's why you hire us for, to do this for you. Not you personally have to involve in everything. It's kind of like heart touchings. It's like something like you feel it's family. A family has a rule as well. It can't be family business. It gotta be as a family to understand each other's. But also there's a rule, a principle to run a company as well. But most important thing is people need to be rewarded for their good job as well. So I believe you pay monkey, you got monkeys. So I always make sure if my employee can perform, we reward them in a proper way. The business shouldn't make money on cutting employees' salary. We should motivate them to create better margin for the company. That's the bigger vision of the business owner, entrepreneur.
Any other questions? Jerry.
Question. Yeah, we keep talking about the captain battery. I know you're under so much pressure every day running the business. You're charging everyone up, give us the resource, energy to everyone else, but who is the one behind you charge you up?
That's fine. So when I cry at night, no one knows. No, I try to stay positive. As an entrepreneur or as a business owner, when you want to do better than other people, you got to recharge yourself because no one can recharge you. You have to recharge yourself. So every night when I go home, I have a hammer, put on, charge myself. Now, you need to be positive in your mind, because imagine that if you're not positive, how can your team to be positive? It's an influence. I always believe the business leader need to create the business cultures. You might influence, when you are small, you can influence everyone. But when your organization become bigger, you need to influence your key member. The key member will influence the team. The team will influence the newcomer. And then the company will create a business culture. End of the day, if your business become like giant company, you won't be involved day-to-day job. But what driving the business is the business culture. The business culture driven the business. The business shouldn't be Vincent's business. It means when I walk away, the business can run itself with its own culture. That's why you recharge yourself, make sure you stay positive. When you become a giant business, you will become the mentor of the business that run itself. And that's why we run our own business, am I right? We need to have a freedom. If you're doing day-to-day job, lock in the business, you can just go to get employed by someone else. You don't have to be a business owner. We need to be financial freedom and then personal freedom out of business as well. So that's why you build a business culture and recharge yourself.
What do you find most challenging being an entrepreneur? Like one thing that's most challenging.
Like this, I have to be public and talk. It's a bit pressure for me. I'm a bit nervous here because this is my public interview. So, okay, that's what's joke, but it's truth as well. The most challenge is once you become an entrepreneur, that's how they call it. I mean, when you do something, you feel that's a good thing to do, you got to share to more people, to motivate all people. It's like pass on your legacy to today's entrepreneur and startup founder. That's why I'm here. I feel there's a social responsibility. I have to share the good things to everyone so it can motivate everyone here. Then you might got your own idea. You might got your own entrepreneurial spirit. And that's how we influence everyone. Like I got influence from my previous business partners or my senior people. So, I mean, social responsibility may be the most challenge for the entrepreneur as well. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I know that you're one of the 3 companies in Australia who holds a license for lead recycling. When you entered the market, what was the reaction of the other 2 companies?
We try to keep low profile, even with our website when we start, so they don't know we are there. We try to get away from them because they are in New South Wales. We try to select Queensland as there's the largest state in Australia, and then the battery was collected by the population as well. So there's a lot of way to enter the market, but because we are doing more like B2B business, so we try to be low profile entry, demonstrate in case before we grow too big, someone will come in to attack us.
And then, do they know you now?
Yes, of course, they know us now. I always remember the first day when we opened up, when we started to collect the first few tons of the batteries. We produce now around 3,500 batteries a day. And then in our new facility, we are producing 7,000 batteries a day. Imagine there's a 7,000 car abandoned a day. When we first start up, when we collect the first few pallets of the batteries, our competitors send their management to us. And then I say hello to them. They say, we didn't know you are here. And I said, yes, I don't want you to know we are here. Secondly, they bring their phone camera, try to photograph. I stopped them. I said, this is very impolite to do that. So I asked them to leave. It's different. Some business, this is not always the business way to open the market. Some business, they need a name to open the market. If you are doing B2P, but then for us, it's B2B. And then we have a big competitor and limited license, so we have to be low profile to go into the market as well.
So how do you manage competition in general? Like, have those companies come back and bother you anymore? Like, how do you keep the peace?
Firstly, we identify there's only few competitors, so we don't have to work too hard to compete. Secondly, my suggestion is you don't worry or care too much about what your competitor does. You just focus on what you are doing. Make sure you do better than your competitors. Then you will be successful in your field. But if you care too much about what your competitor does, it's the distraction of your business, and it doesn't help you. So don't look around, focus on what you're doing, maybe it's my suggestions. Of course, when I say focus, you gotta understand your competitors' weakness as well.
So your industry seems like a typical high entry barrier kind of industry. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who want to get into a similar industry with high entry barriers?
Join us. I mean, barrier for a lot of people thinks like a difficult challenge, but for me, it's a weapon because it's a strength. Because once you overcome the barrier will become a natural barrier to fight for you to your competitor. If you try your best to go over the barrier becomes your natural barrier to fight for you. So it's actually a strength for you. So my suggestion is identify the barrier, make sure it's hard enough, only you can make it happen, then no one can do it. Then that's your natural barrier, it's your strength.
It's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah. So it's other people's barrier, not your barrier.
Yes. And that's why you gotta be recharged and positive as well.
Absolutely. So coming back to your industry, what happens if there is a new entrant? Like they overcome all the hardships that they needed to do and then starting to do exactly the same business as you do in Queensland. What is going to be your tackling strategy?
We are not worried because we always believe we can do better. We will always plan 5 years ahead. If they enter the market, we already have a backup plan for the next R&D project because recycling is to recycle the next generations. We prepare for the next R&D process in case there's a new coming.
So it's already underway?
Yes. So when they try to get into the industry, we might give up the industry already.
Gotcha. Any questions from the floor before I approach with my last one? Alan?
You mentioned that culture, it's all about developing culture, a good culture and you seem like I've read you, I feel that you understand there's a direct correlation with having a positive culture and actually it's a directive to having a bottom line. As you actually step away from the business, and your business has actually grown, how do you actually imprint your DNA to ensure that culture stays the same? Because as your organisation grows, naturally your culture changes. For example, if I came to your business and I said I only wanted to work with Vincent, and then you move up and you step up into a bigger position, I didn't necessarily sign up for that. I actually wanted to work with Vincent. How do you actually manage that? How do you actually manage culture and keep culture consistent as your organisation grows?
Yeah, it's a good question. Lucky our company is not that giant yet. But then, if I'm imagining that one day my business grow bigger, And then we need to build a culture like that. It's impossible to get everyone believe in your cultures, but at least 60% of people believe in you cultures. Then you can build business cultures. And then my suggestion is you might get a good HR managers who can run that for you. You don't have to do that, but you have to make sure the HR manager who buy into your culture first.
Yeah, Cici.
Yeah, I just have a question about your future, or not your future, your company's future. So what do you see your company in 5 years' time? And I guess related to that is relating to the market, the battery recycling market. With more electric cars coming in, do you see a challenge for the market?
Yes, this is a very good question, and all the bank funding institutions ask me the same questions. Lead-acid battery has been on the market for 70 years. It's still the cheapest, most economic power storage. The electronic car, let me say the most popular is hybrid car. The hybrid car still using the lead-acid batteries. The only pure electric car, EV, will use the lithium batteries. The lithium battery, we believe in 10, 15 years, there will become a balance of EV car, hybrid car, and traditional car. But don't forget the third world countries, the population is still growing. Most of people there, they don't have car. They will access the cheapest car, which is the petrol engine car or diesel engine car first. So in next 10 to 20 years, there will be a balance. But for us, to run a business is not to stay there, not moving. We use the acid industry to make the money. It's just like a tap to open the cash flow as water. We collect those water, we invest the next project. Recycling is recycle next generations or this generation waste. So when there's an EV car comes out, we were moving to recycle the lithium batteries. So this business recycling is a substantial, it can keep going. But you have to maintain your strength is your R&D bone. You can always get the R&D going. So we have to reinvest probably 5% of our business turnover into R&D every year. Luckily, Australian government gives us a very good R&D concessions. Every $1 we spend, we can gain, as long as we can prove it, $1.43 tax deductions. So this is very motivated for us to keep going with R&D. But then it's like you got to use your business now to build the foundation, the cash flow, to invest the next one. You never hope this will stay forever, am I right? So that's how we do things.
Any other questions? Yes.
Very interesting story. And before you explained you was not an engineer, and you emphasized you got to understand the business to make it succeed. And I really agree with that. It's not business, just do the business and assume based on what the assumption is and just run with it, and that's what it's about. What's your procedure from accountant background or knowledge of that and go into the industry which not a lot of people into, and how you validate the assumption and which help you to understand the industry? I find that quite interesting.
Very interesting. When I'm from accounting background, I'm not confident to run a manufacturers or recycling industries. But I believe whatever I pay, I got to learn. It's like tuition fee you pay. So when we start up the patent process, when we start up the R&D process, we get a lot of good engineers work with us. I was in the factories every day, probably 10 hours a day. In the beginning, we got a lot of failure ideas, and then we keep changing. And you will see how the money burns out. You start nervous, so you start to think. But once you think more, and you got a lot of teachers there where you pay money for, like those engineers, you ask them. You get knowledge from them, then you start to research your own. Then you slowly understand that. You don't need to be professional in engineer, but at least you understand the concept, the principle. So when you select the machines, you know what is the best for you. But you got to start from, it's not like you want to set up manufacture, you're the boss, you sit in office, say, hey, get it done. No, I was in the factories, working with those engineers every day to get understand, because I need to know where my money pay to. I want to learn something when I spend money. So in the first 1 or 2 years, whatever engineer tell us, we buy into that, we keep paying money, we keep building something which not work. But we start to learn from the value machines. Then in the second year, third year, we start to tell the engineer, say, hey, we want to get this done, and this is supposed to be done this way. Why don't you design something to make it happen? And show us before you do it. So we start to learn, start to debate, start to think we are better than them. Of course, we still got good engineer in the company, and that's how we overcome the issues. Yeah.
Okay, so Vincent, I got my last question now. When I thought of this question, I thought like, okay, so this question is, why do you pick recycling as the industry to get into? And I was hoping that you would say something like, I want to make the world a better place. But throughout the entire 1 hour interview, you haven't mentioned that. So was that absolutely not a reason that you got into the industry?
You mean the personal side or the commercial side?
Both.
Yeah. The green industry is a good business. High margins, no one will get involved. This is from commercial side, from my analysis. From my personal side is, one day when I wake up, I want to save the world. There's a lot of ways to be a human, and there's a lot of ways to make money. I believe to invest in a green business, every day when you wake up, you feel you are helping the world, helping the people, and making money. It's something very happy. It's not like smuggling. You can make big money on smuggling as well, but that's not something we want to do. Let me share something that's very interesting. Last month, I have been invited to the Mother Hospital Foundation's lunch with their CEO. The hope we can help the Mother Foundations to build a donation to help more children and women in the Mother Hospital. So I have an idea to suggest them. I say, doesn't matter how much money we donate or how big hospital you build, you are saving people's life. But to save people's life, you got to start from beginnings. Is get the environment health. So a lot of people got sick because of air pollution, water pollutions. If you don't rescue the earth, there's more pollution coming out. And doesn't matter how big is the hospital, how good is the medicines, it never help people. So I suggest them, why don't we start with the Mad Hospital? They got 500,000 visitors every year, 500,000. And everybody has a car at home. Everybody went to mechanical shop, change their batteries, but the batteries belong to you. I suggest them, say, why don't we set up a collection point in the car park? Imagine that, 500,000 people, if only 10% of them, even they got 5,000 staff, if only 10% of them, 50,000 people, when they visit their friends in the hospital, they bring one battery in their car. You might change one battery a year. Bring to the hospital, put there. There's 50,000 batteries we can recycle to help the environment.
Unless people get sick.
Yes, because the lead and acid will go into underground. Imagine that if you got few battery at home, the quickest way is dump into the city council bin. And those city council bin will go to landfill. And the lead and acid go into the underground. People drink it. And that's something you can't prevent. and that's hazardous to more people's health. So I suggest and say, why don't we combine recycling and the hospital together to do something which is quite heart-ending, cheerful things is we helping the people together. So that's back to the question is, I like to do there's a lot of ways to be a human. I would like to be a human to help the society, to help the world as well. And of course, good margin of the business.
Thank you, and that's the end of the interview today. Thank you so much.